Democrats in Washington. Have they ever done anything effective? I think that Social Security is a very good program.
Don't vote. Don't vote.
By the national government, and I can't imagine what the life of the average senior would be without Social Security coverage. And for those who suggest that it is cheap, I would suggest to you, as I have done in other forms,
It's going to do us a lot of good, Social
but to
Security.
suggest you should be much more concerned next year about the Cubs going independent. Until 20, I didn't mean it. The Social Security Trust Fund is solvent until the year 2037.
You're right. How much money taken out of my check for that?
The fact is, I would acknowledge to you that that's not good enough. For some of us in this room, as might be, we have some young people here as well.
That don't get
And
Social
certainly,
Security
this
yet.
is exactly the time that we should continue to look to make modest changes in the program, as we have done on any number of occasions in the past, to make sure that it is solvent for the next generation. One of the proposals that I am very supportive of is not to increase the payroll tax, but to have wages taxed. If it's good enough for someone who is working until December 31st and still paying their taxes, if you are a high wage earner, you should be paying on all of your wages too. Now, I wouldn't suggest to you that completely, for infinity, solves the Social Security problem, but it would be certainly a step in the right direction. But to suggest that the government can do nothing right, I would hold out Social Security. And for those who claim it is bankrupt, that is simply not true.
There's one.
Next question is, are there any plans to improve public transportation in this area? There are a number of proposals to do that. You have the creation of the Regional Development Authority that has provided funds for the Regional Bus Authority, which has taken over the bus system in Hammond. They're looking to coordinate those city systems, but also looking in communities like St. John and Schererville for that on-demand service that is so very important to people who cannot drive a car. One of the other propositions that I am still very supportive of, but I don't see serious action taking place in the next 12 months looking ahead, is not only the recapitalization of the existing South Shore service, but its extension to Lowell as well as Valparaiso, so that we can tie Northwest Indiana in to the Chicago economy more intimately to encourage new economic development.
Is that what he just said?
I've told people in other
I live in freaking Lowell.
my grandfather moved him. I never met him. He died in 1929. But their generation built the mills. They built refineries. As a child, I have the vaguest recollections of my father's generation making an investment in other steel mills, in building the Borman Expressway, in building I-65, and thinking about the young people in the future in Northwest Indiana. I fight every day for the steel industry. But I don't think anybody in this room thinks there's going to be huge job growth there because they're so efficient now. The young people in this area, if we don't make an investment, have no incentive to come back, and then shame on all of us. So I do see possibilities here. It is going to be grudging. It is going to be long term. How come we support government health care when the government is unable to run current programs such as Medicare? Again, getting back to the government doing things right, I would use Medicare. Now, Medicare is solvent today. It's solvent until 2017, and that is a serious problem we need to be concerned about. It's not because someone was reckless or irresponsible. It wasn't because somebody walked off with the money. It wasn't because the government ran it. We have the demographics of this country working against it, and obviously this explosion of healthcare costs. That's one of the things with the removal of antitrust protection and negotiation with the drug companies we're trying to get at with the healthcare bill.
We need to get this
So the
guy
fact
off.
is, I would point to Medicare as
For
the
re-election
that
this
will.
year. He will be voted out.
That was my
Good
question.
opportunity,
You left
I'll
off
be
part
the
of it.
guy there, so.
You asked about the welfare system.
Ma'am.
That was my question. I can't respond to my question. It was welfare and Medicare.
Welfare system,
And I
we have
am in
a,
healthcare, and I see the Medicaid abuse.
ma'am, I would suggest if you have seen a specific abuse of the Medicaid program,
Multiple
you see somebody
families.
that you should make that known to law enforcement officials. But
Fair enough
that's
official.
if government taking over health care is so good, why is Congress and the Senate exempting themselves so they can have take a drink of coffee on that. I have private insurance. It's called Blue Cross Blue Shield Family Low Option.
Who pays for
I
it?
Who pays
for it.
How much?
I couldn't tell you, but it's very affordable.
I know.
She could-
If it's so good, what are we doing here then?
I have.
Make up your
is
mind.
The privilege you have given me to serve in the United States Congress, and as a federal employee, I can procure health insurance. And because I'm part of a large purchasing pool, it is affordable. And that's exactly what, as a member of Congress, I want available for everyone in this country. No one is trying to exempt themselves here. They want to make sure that everybody has that same option. One of the things that is contained
gonna pay for it?
in that House care bill is that national insurance exchange I talked about in my opening remarks. It's hard to go to a Rotary, it's hard to go to a service club and not have a small business person come up and explain about the 20-some% increase in premiums they have from their insurance package. I want to make sure small businesses, as well as individuals, have multiple options so they're not at the mercy of one insurer. And that they can buy as a larger purchasing pool as federal employees can do. So that it can be affordable and you're at least not even down to some of these insurance. The next question
Will you
is,
go on Medicare at 65, or will you still maintain your federal policy? All of us that work for corporations at 65, they say, you now go on Medicare, you can give us a supplement.
I will go on to Medicare.
That was my question.
We're not paying into it though.
Do illegals, criminals, on or off work in our country allowed to receive funds for our Social Security system? No. In some instances, they may pay Social Security tax, but if they are here illegally, they are not eligible to receive any Social Security benefit.
Yeah, right.
Will you support campaign finance reform? We have enacted campaign finance reform several years ago, and I do think one of the other great reforms that we enacted 3 years ago is also to increase the amount of information that is available to people such as you as to how we govern our office, what our expenses are, as well as making sure that as congressional requests are made, there's full transparency and disclosure. So I'm very happy that those types of changes and improvements have been made over the last 3 years. Your earmarks are killing our country. How while they spend it. I make no apology, if I would, because all of you work hard for the taxes you pay in Northwest Indiana for projects that make sense and have value to bring those dollars back to Northwest Indiana.